What's going on, guys? It's Charr here, back with another video. Now this one's going to be a bit interesting, mostly because we're on like the hiatus for Marvel Rewind right now, waiting to get into the X-Men wave, which is going to be pretty fun. But besides that, we're here with a different type of video this week. This is going to be similar to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hulk deck showcase and gameplay I did a couple months back. And it's just going to be a new version of it, but we're doing Winter Soldier today. So as you know, I was a bit late to getting the new heroes, but that doesn't mean I haven't been playing them. I've been getting a lot of games in both Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I wanted to talk about the Winter Soldier deck I've been using because although I don't think it's like the most unique thing in the world, I think it's the most fun that I've been able to have with him. And I think the deck is really thematic. It's also really fun and powerful. So Winter Soldier is a really interesting hero. From the early murmurings online, because the online space, I think, in my opinion, when you're talking about discourse, at least here on YouTube, is extremely solo focused, I feel like Winter Soldier was definitely conflated in his power level, maybe even overinflated with his power level a little bit. He's definitely very, very strong. I think he's a very strong and solid hero. I also think he got a lot of bump because his pre-con is pretty solid. Because he's pretty self-sufficient with his kit, and his pre-con is just kind of like attack events. And if you have a self-sufficient kit and your pre-con is just giving you more damage, usually it's recipe for success. And also he's extremely simple. Falcon, in on the other hand, has a lot of like planning, a lot of doing like multiple turns ahead, manipulating the encounter deck and whatnot. His game plans, his lines, and his strengths aren't as simple as a character like Winter Soldier. Regardless of all that, even if he's simple, even if his precon is good, from many of the games I've been playing, he is a very strong hero. And we're just going to talk about and explain kind of like what I learned about Winter Soldier from playing many, many games with him over the past few weeks. I guess the past week, maybe 2 weeks. So we're gonna set this cards to the side, which is the rest of the deck. Let's just talk about his kit real quick. So we have 11 hit points here. We have 3 recovery, and he has this cybernetically enhanced action. You spend 1 resource of any type. You can search your deck and discard pile for the cybernetic arm and put it into play. His whole kit revolves around this one card right here, the cybernetic arm. Essentially, it is a resource generator for attack events. Let me see if it'll focus. It did. Item tech. It says exhaust the cybernetic arm, generate a wild resource for an attack event, and that event deals 1 additional damage. So because he can get this on the table from turn 1, it makes him a really good tempo character. Talking about tempo, it gets even better when you read his hero ability and he flips to the other side. He has that 2-2-2 stat line, 11 hit points. He has good stats. His recovery, I guess, is a tad low, but not really. He has this lethal protector response. After you attack and defeat an enemy, so it doesn't have to be a minion, it can even be like a villain stage or whatnot, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Super good. So combined with this, so he gets to discount his attack events every turn, which is really good for like tempo, board control type of play, dealing with minions on the board or other threats, maybe like attachments on the villain that need some damage or whatnot. So he's really good at dealing with those because he gets the discount on his attack events. He also is really good for dealing with threat on the board from either the main or any side schemes that have come in, because he gets to double dip from clearing the board of minions. He also gets to clear the board from threat, which makes him really, really versatile and very strong, I think, in a solo setting. He doesn't ever have to worry about really thwarting with his main thwart stat. He can just deal with attacking as long as there's minions for him to hit, and he's able to be really, really successable there. That being said, when I used him in scenarios that didn't have a ton of minions in the encounter deck, we're talking like maybe a 30-40 card encounter deck, but there's like 3 or 4 minions in it, he can definitely struggle being that kind of like all-around tempo carry. He really does rely on minions being on the board to get his thwarting done, and without those minions, he's still just good. He's just not like super great. I don't know where I'd put him on like a tier ranking. I don't really know. SA's kind of nebulous. I think he's definitely probably A tier. I think he's very strong and very solid, and there's 2 main reasons why. We'll get into the next card in his kit, which is Arm Block. This card is insane, especially in multiplayer, and this is mainly a multiplayer focused deck, which is a bit of a disclaimer I didn't give getting into it. This card's insane. It's a 1-cost event. Traded attack and defense. When an enemy attacks, deal 3 damage to it. So this is any enemy. It doesn't have to be the villain. It doesn't have to be a minion. It can be any enemy. Deal 3 damage to it. And since it's a win, it's before they actually deal damage. And then if you exhaust your arm for it, since it busts all the damage by 1, you're essentially doing 1 for 4, which is extremely above rate, and or not above rate, but it's basically on rate. It's super good. And then it says, if you exhaust the cybernetic arm to pay for this event, prevent all damage from that enemy's attack. So in solo, this is awesome. It essentially blanks a villain activation, which is really good. In multiplayer, this blanks anybody's activation. It is not just you. You don't actually have to exhaust your hero to defend. All you do is just, let's say someone's getting hit for like a Ronin overkill. I don't play Ronin, but let's say he was hit for like a Fanaticism attack for 12. You can arm block for that friend of yours, and it will prevent all the damage from them. It's probably the best card in his kit, and I don't think it's very close. Then we're going to get into his built-in attack event. So he has 2 of this electrical discharge here. Deal 4 damage to an enemy if you paid for this event using a energy resource to stun that enemy. In solo specifically, if there's no steady or stalwart, this card is extremely good and extremely strong. It's just a way to blank a villain activation. It's also very good for taking out minions, because if you use your arm, you get that 5 damage threshold that a lot of minions later on in the game seem to have. If you don't spend it with the arm, it's still 4 damage and a stun, which is pretty good and efficient. Then we get to his card Metal Punch, which is 3 copies of it. It is an attack, deals 7 damage to an enemy. If you exhausted the cybernetic arm to pay for this attack gains overkill, so it'll become 3 for 8 with overkill. Because his whole shtick revolves around putting minions on the board, this is just really efficient use of an attack event. Let's say you have a 5 health minion, none of that damage ever goes to waste, because as long as you can exhaust that arm, you can get that overkill and bleed over that 3 damage onto the villain, or maybe onto a tough status the villain may have. Very good and solid attack event. So now we're going to move on from his attack events. These are all really good, and these are things that you want to be playing every single turn, because you want to use your arm as much as possible if you're leaning into this tempo playstyle, which I think he is best at, especially in this deck profile. Then we get to the parts of his kits which I consider kind of the must plays, and it's 2 cards. So Bucky does have a lot of upgrades. He also has preparations that he wants to get on the table that are very good for him, but they're not requirements. I think these are the requirements for this deck. The first one is the Black Widow ally. I think this ally is one of the craziest signature allies in the game. 3 cost, 3 health, 2 thwart, 2 attack as a response. After you play her from your hand, you return any attack event from your discard pile from your hand. If you need to survive a phase, grab an arm block. If you need to stun the enemy and blank an activation, grab the discharge. If you have a minion on the board and you're looking to push damage on the enemy, grab the Metal Punch. Or as you'll see later on in the deck, and as the previous chart takes may have alluded to, you probably want to be grabbing the team up card most times. Then we go to the next one, which is the Winter Mask. This is another one where it's like when you see it in the deck paths, you almost always want to make concessions on your hand to get this down. It really leans into that tempo playstyle. He wants to be taking out these minions. All it does is just give him extra economy in his hand for doing so. After you attack and defeat an enemy, you exhaust it and draw a card. Super good. The rest of these is what I've called like maybe the lowest priority cards in his kit, or the nice to haves, at least in this deck list specifically. So we're going to start off with 2 copies of the Silent Infiltration. This card is not bad by any means. It is a 2 cost preparation upgrade. After you attack and defeat an enemy, discard this card. You can ready your hero and confuse an enemy. This is really good for your tempo playstyle. Maybe you have your Winter Rifle out, you deal 4 damage, ready up, deal 2 more, knock out 2 minions, get 4 thwarting. You can also confuse the villain and help you flip down. In solo, I think this priority goes up a lot more, but in multiplayer, the ready is nice and the confuse is nice, but neither of them are really they're just not on the top of the priority list. Speaking of things that are on the priority list, we have both the Winter Armor and the Winter Rifle. I actually like both of these cards. I like that this one gives them piercing and range, because piercing is a really good keyword because a lot of minions come in tough in this game. We also have the Winter Armor here, which he gains 3 hit points and gains steady. There's a lot of scenarios that will stun and confuse you, and the stuns extremely bog you down extremely hard. It can cancel your arm block activations on the enemy phase, and you won't be able to actually prevent any of that damage. So I do like the Winter Armor, and also if you don't draw into the arm blocks, he can be kind of squishy. Like, he's not super squishy. He does have 11 hit points. It's not like he has 9 or anything, but you can see that his health will take down a bit low, and that's probably self-induced by a card we'll have in the deck coming up. And the final one here is we have the Safe House. Because there is kind of minion summoning techniques in every single what's it called, in almost every single aspect now. I feel like this card is good, but it is not required by any means. We're in leadership, so we're obviously playing squared off. You have Come Get Me Bug Protection, you have Spoiling for a Fight and Aggression now, and then Justice has the Infiltration card. I feel like all of those cards are more capable and useful minion summoning tools than his houses. That doesn't mean his house is bad by any means. If you find yourself having that extra resource that you can put this down, go ahead and go for it. The thing is, for this deck specifically, I didn't find myself flipping down that often, if at all. You get a lot of advantage for staying up, and you want to be able to control the threats on the board during the hero phase, and maybe even calling for actions in multiplayer. Or if you're flipped down and you can't like call an action to like KO a guard minion from someone or KO a patrol minion from the justice player, it feels really awkward in this tempo playstyle where I played down the house and I would get minions and draw off of it. It's just probably the most I would say, maybe if we're talking about like in levels of like how much you'd want to get it down, it's probably in between. It's maybe this like borderline area between this half and this half. These are the must get downs. These are like the extremely nice to have. This is in the middle. It really does depend on the board state. It depends on kind of the cards you've drawn into, if you've already seen both of your squared offs, and it also depends on the the villain you are fighting. But that's a quick primer on Bucky and like how I like to play him, and you'll see more of that at the little short gameplay we'll have at the end of this video. But then we're going to get into the deck proper, and this is kind of like going to be divided into like kind of how I view and think about the game and what I thought Bucky's weaknesses were to shore up and how we could, patch that up. So we're on the 3 double resources here. Bucky's economy, I'll be honest, it is not great. It could be a lot better than it is. He does have a resource generator that lets him play this tempo playstyle really well, but depending on the hands and kind of cards he could have an awkward time even playing a second card that turn if he was in hero form. So because of that, we do want to supplement him with 2 of the power of leadership. It is a leadership Bucky deck we are doing today, and he has enough allies and enough high cost leadership cards to essentially make use of this. So then we're going to go into, speaking of his economy, what 2 economy swords we have in the deck. We actually have one more, but it's not in the basic section. We have team building exercise and helicarrier. Like I said, it's similar to the Agents of Shield Hulk deck, where this is a shield themed deck. There is a lot of shield allies, and because there's a lot of great shield allies in leadership, it does tend to work out really well. There's a lot of shield allies that are in basic as well, so you can get a lot of discounts on this team building exercise. And the helicarrier is just really good all around resource generator, especially because this is multiplayer focused. I think this is the only one he has access to because he's not even an Avenger, but it's just so versatile. If I don't need the extra resource, I can give it to someone else, and it just makes the multiplayer games run smoothly. Then we're getting into the events here. So this is the one of event, the team up between Black Widow and Winter Soldier, Winter Widow Soldier Spy. This is just super good for him. It lets him make use of his arm every turn if you draw into it, as long as Black Widow is on the board. And also you can put a preparation from your discard pile into play. It's almost always going to be spoilers for the video, rapid response. It's one of the most insane preparation cards in the game, and being able to put it in for free makes this tempo kind of leadership playstyle really go off, and it's extremely good. Here's the 2 of the sauce in here. I was talking a little bit in the Discord, but this would be my saucy inclusion, multi-talented. So this might be a really interesting card to include, and you might be confused by it. It will be made more clear later. I think this card came in Jubilee. Hopefully it'll focus here. There we go. So it is an attack thwart. If you paid for this event using at least 1 fist resource, deal 2 damage to an enemy. Mental resource, remove 2 threat from a scheme, and 8 energy resource to heal 2 damage from your identity. This might be a really confusing inclusion. There's a couple reasons why. So you almost always want to be playing an attack event every turn in this deck, and leadership does not have good attack events. You're looking at like mass attack and I think 1 more, and so none of those are really good options for Bucky in order to wanting to constantly make use of his arm every turn. And so when you look around like kind of the basic attack card pools, Bucky can actually make pretty decent use of multi-talented, and it works out well for him. A couple reasons why. So the arm actually buffs his damage from dealing 2 damage to an enemy to 3, which is a pretty nice bonus. And you can hit the kicker for all the different resources because we have another resource generator in here that I'll spoil, which I'll just put here now, is Clarity of Purpose in leadership, which is you can attach your identity and you can exhaust this card, deal 1 damage to yourself to generate a wild resource. So we have a wild resource from our arm. We also have a wild resource from Clarity of Purpose, which means we only need one of the 3 icons here for the third to play this multi-talented and get essentially all 3 of the effects here, which for 3 costs is extremely good. You get to deal 3 damage if you're using the arm. You get to remove 2 threat from any scheme, and the secret sauce to this card, I think, is the healing 2 damage. Because I want to be in hero mode basically the entire game, I love flipping down Alter Ego and other heroes, but for this deck specifically, it's really good at being in hero mode. This just gives you that little bit of extra health you need to actually stay up and stay in the fight, basically. You'll be surprised how much this healing 2 damage actually does. Obviously, we're constantly taking our life from the Clarity of Purpose, but it really, really does go a long way, and this card actually feels really good in this deck. I don't know if it's good enough to put up to 3, but I think for 2, it is actually really good, and I find myself playing it more often than I think. We're getting to our basic ally lineup here, which none of these should be a surprise to you. The shield allies in basic are really, really strong, and we're basically playing the 4 best ones that we could be. Mockingbird definitely gets swapped in and out depending on the scenario. It's just one of those cards where it's just like, she's really good, don't get me wrong, but if the stun isn't really high priority, we don't really need to use her that much. In a similar vein, we've got Agent 13, which I think Mockingbird gets swapped out from scenario to scenario. Agent 13 almost never does. I really love Agent 13 in this deck. After she attacks or thwarts, choose a shield support and ready that support. Usually it's going to be Helicarrier to provide discounts to other cards and people on the table, but there's another support that's coming up that we'll talk about that she can also ready up that's just really good for this deck. Then we have both Nick Furies here. Bucky, like I said, his early economy can be kind of rough, and both of these cards are really good for him, not only because he gets the discount from team building exercise, but also they give him those cards. So instead of playing 1 to 1.5 cards a turn, it can get him up to 2, even like 3 cards a turn. Let him set up these kind of lower costs, maybe a Helicarrier. He can set up maybe a team building if he, it wasn't already up. He can set up maybe a, Clarity of Purpose, or some of the other ones that we have coming up here. So we'll go ahead and stack these up, and now we're getting into the leadership half of the deck. So we know Clarity of Purpose is in there for a resource generator, and now we have the other 2 shield supports I was talking about for Agent 13. We have Command Team. This card, especially in multiplayer, is so good. Like, you have to play in multiplayer to really understand like the strength of this card. Like, it's good in solo, but in multiplayer it's crazy. There's just, you give tempo to other people on the board. You let their allies get extra activations if they're summoning just to chump for them in the villain phase. It's just, everything gets so much more optimal. You just squeeze that little bit of extra kind of effort out of all the allies on the board, and it really goes a long way in multiplayer to feeling strong and powerful. You can also do funny things like play Agent 13 with the Helicarrier activator to ready the Helicarrier, then use the Command Team to ready her up, use the Helicarrier again, and then since she's ready up, activate ready the Helicarrier. You could get like multiple cost reductions in a turn. You can do it for other people on the board. It's just really fun and really good. Here we have a couple other ones that are into this tempo playstyle. A lot of the time I don't want to be blocking with my allies in this deck if I don't have to. Team training is there because I really, along with the command teams, is there so I can really get all the use out of my allies before I decide to inevitably, I'm not saying that I don't chump with them, but when inevitably I have to chump with them, then that's I've gotten like an extra activation out of them. Team training feels really good, and mission leader, especially for multiplayer, is awesome. You reduce this cost to play it if you're identifying as a soldier trait, which we do. Anytime a side scheme is defeated, we exhaust this card and each player draws a card. It's so good and so fun in multiplayer. Here we have 2 copies of Rapid Response. I've almost never, ever played this card out of my hand unless I had nothing else to do. It is very good. It's a preparation after an ally you control is defeated. Discard Rapid Response, put that ally into play from your discard pile and deal damage to it. It's just super good in this deck for recurring specific allies that just like buff the table, or really good to just get extra activations because they all have like 2 thwart or 2 attack, which the side effect of allies as well, keeping them on the table longer. It lets Winter Soldier hit those ranges on those weird health minions in order to actually knock them out and get those kickers. Now we're going to our let's stack all these up and we'll get to our leadership ally lineup here really quickly. So We're looking at our leadership allies. We have to be on Maria Hill. This one doesn't need any introduction, especially in multiplayer. This card's insanely good. We can play her for one with the team building exercise. There's just something that needs to be said on that front. We'll actually go to these. We'll skip ahead real quick to these two allies. Slingshot is another shield ally, and along with Victoria Hand from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box. Slingshot is really good because any player can trigger this ability from your hand. So if someone needs like an activation out of turn, you can spend a lightning bolt resource from yourself and then put her into play from your hand under any player's control. So if someone else wants to use like your command team out of turn and like play the slingshot from your hand and activate it with her, I actually found myself using her a lot. She's 3/3. She can be discounted by the team building exercise, and her stats are good. So I actually find her just using her hard play out of hand, even though she doesn't have just for the stats. Another one we have here that's fun is Victoria Hand. It's a 3-cost ally, 2 health. After she enters play, ready as shield support. So like you can play her, like exhaust a helicarrier, play her, and then she can ready up the helicarrier. This one sees less play, but she does have good stats. I like the 2 thwarting, and she's a lot of fun. This is kind of the saucy one. I didn't find myself playing this one that much, but Hugin Munin I think is a really, really great card. Mostly because this whole deck is like squeezing every ounce of value out of the allies, and they just help you do that to the max. After they enter play, you search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck and for a minion and put it into play, engage with you, and you can ready one character you control for every single icon in the bottom right corner. So let's say like you have a Nick Fury Senior or like a Nick Fury Junior in play, and you play Hugin and Moon, and you get like 2 or 3 icons. So like you can just ready up the Nick Fury again, and then you can command team him to ready up again. And if you have the the team training down, he still has 1 health up for a chump block. It's just really, really efficient and really good. And then also it puts a minion in play with you, so you can ready up and activate and remove more threat. Very, very good and very strong in this deck. For our leadership event lineups, we're on 2 Make the Call and 2 Squared Off. Make the Call is just one of the most insane cards in the game, and sometimes you need a very specific ally that you had to discard earlier on, just for tempo or whatnot, so that you can get it back into play. Squared Off is super good. Again, this is our other minion summoning along with Hugin and Moonin. You discard cards from the encounter deck until you discard a minion, put it into play, engage with you, and reduce any ally by 3 costs from your hand. It's good for playing Victoria Hand, Slingshot, any of the basic allies. It's good for playing Black Widow. It's just really, really good. And the final ally we have here is White Tiger. This is one of those variable ally slots along with Mockingbird, depending if the villain has a stage number or not. This is something you swap in or out. Also, if you think it's like too much power, essentially Bucky likes the card draw. He wants to get his stuff built and built out early, so obviously we put White Tiger in here, even though it's a bit out of theme. Hugin and Moonin is as well, but depending on the scenario, this is replaced with Beast. This can be replaced with any number of cards, so that was the last inclusion. That's essentially the deck list. A little bit into like how I've been playing the deck and kind of like my thought process behind it. I don't think the deck is complete by any means. I think there's a lot of substitutions you can make depending on the player count and depending on what you want from the deck. So a couple of the substitutions we have is like Beast, again, like we said, for White Tiger. I don't have all of them on me. Triskelion was in the deck at one point, but I found because of this tempo playstyle, I found I was never actually sitting on like more than 3 minions at most times. Because they were getting all their uses out through the command teams and I was chumping with them for their last health, that it usually always had an open ally slot. And Winter Soldier never really plays like 2 allies in a turn unless they're like really low cost allies. And so if your general curve is playing an ally and then using an attack event every turn, you really don't always need that 4th ally slot, but it was in the deck at one point. If you're playing on standard or a lower tempo scenario, I really love Sky Destroyer. I think it works really well with Winter Soldier because all these are shield allies. So like you put a shield ally into play, you can ping 2 damage on that minion sitting in front of you or sitting in front of another player. And so it's just really fun and really good, and it's just a really good source of dealing 2 damage a turn, but it is a bit slow and he has a lot of things he wants to get built out of. So those are just a couple of extra considerations. I think the write-up will have more when I can think of them. But yeah, that is basically my thoughts on Winter Soldier, and we can get to actually playing a game real quick. So this is definitely tuned in its current state to multiplayer games. We're not going to switch any of it up right now, just to see like kind of like the thought process of kind of like the turn to turn. I've played this deck so much that I think like my lines are pretty well thought out. That being said, we are playing solo and we are playing on expert, so we could just get run down here. his nemesis set is Crossbones, so who better to do this short little game with than Crossbones himself? So he's going to be on expert mode. He's got 3 main schemes. We got his machine gun here, and we're just going to go ahead and get to this. It should be pretty fun. We've got our standard and expert set here. He's got all his side schemes. He's got Weapon Master. He's got Legions of Hydra, and then he's got Hydro Assault in here. Gonna shuffle all of these in, and then we're gonna get our obligation here. Red Room Training or Processing? Is it Training? Red Room Programming. Okay. So we're gonna shuffle all this up, and then we have to get Crossbones' experimental weapon deck. But this should be pretty fun. Crossbones is a classic scenario. He has really low health, so there's also an opportunity for us to like rush him down and let him throw out the main schemes, which might end up happening, sadly, but that's just what it is. He's the first villain of the first box, so we'll have that shuffled up, and we will go ahead and just get to this. We're just doing all this right here, and then let us see. Okay, so we're gonna have this here, we're gonna have this here, and then let's read this. We can create the experimental weapon deck and set it next to the main scheme. And so it's gonna come in with 0 threat, and it pops at 3 per player. And we're gonna shuffle up his experimental weapons here and roll a dice, and we'll pick one at random. So let's see what we can get. Let me take out some of these yellow dice here for the threat, and we'll roll 1 right now. So that was a 5. Let's re-roll 3. So the third one will be the one he starts with. So he's got Energy Shield. The villain gains Retaliate 1. So that's not great, but it could be worse. I'm gonna keep. Oh no, we already shuffled this up. So we'll put his experimental weapon deck. I gotta try and organize this a little bit. I've been playing on kind of like on webcam. Join the Discord if that interests you at all. But I've been playing on webcam, so I want to see like where I'd have these things here. So I'll just put them around Crossbones, I think, and we'll have the experimental weapon deck somewhat off screen here. So his machine gun does come into play. It has 2 ammo counters. When Crossbones attacks you, you remove an ammo counter from there. He discards cards from the encounter deck, and we take indirect damage equal to the number. So he has these. We'll just put this here. I'm trying to see how I would do this. Maybe we'll just put it like right here, even though that's a bit awkward. We'll do it like this. Hopefully he doesn't get more cards than that. Okay, we're gonna shuffle up our player deck here probably a couple times because it was all sorted. But yeah, the one revealed on attack on Mount Athena just gives him the energy shield, and he has 14 health. We have 11 health to start out with, and we're just gonna see how Bucky handles his nemesis here. So we have 2 health, 2 scheme to attack. Crossbones isn't a pushover for Bucky. That being said, like, we're gonna have to go into solo play patterns. Just probably gonna want to find like a Maria Hill or Nick Fury starting off here. We want like a low health chump because this machine gun is not a joke. So let's go ahead and draw up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I'm looking at this hand, and I'm really not a fan of almost a single card in it. I think what we'll do is we'll keep. Do we keep squared off? I think we might end up keeping squared off and draw 5 cards here. So I'm going to discard 5. And I really hope there's a playable hand on our first 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, of course there wasn't. Yeah, we didn't find a single ally, which is crazy. Okay, maybe we should have kept the electrical discharge, but we're just going to have to play it like it is. All right, so what we want to do is we probably want to actually get down a rapid response. Can we afford to do that and still play Metal Punch? I don't think so. I think we just actually have to play our arm from our hand. I don't think this works. I actually don't know this. As you can tell, I usually have something to play when I draw, what's it called? When I draw into the arm, but I guess we're just going for broke here on damage. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we want to get this down. Then can we get down? We can't even remove his attachment if I wanted to. Okay, I guess we'll just keep this squared off then. So we'll just spend 1 resource here. We'll get down our arm. Then I'll come in ready. And then we will flip up. And then we will just do, I guess we'll keep the squared off again. We'll exhaust it. 2 resources here for Metal Punch. Let's deal 8 damage to him. And then swing 2 more. So sorry, he's at 14. So we're swinging 8 damage. So that's 14 down to 6. And then 2 more damage with our basic activation down to 4. And then I guess we'll keep squared off in hand and we'll just ready up. I mean, again, I wasn't planning for it to go like this. 4 and 5. Oh my goodness, these are really unplayable hands. This is like such a bad showcase, I feel like. But okay, it's gonna go up by 1. Then what's gonna happen is Crossbones is going to attack us for base 2. We're just gonna take it. 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, sorry. This happens first. When he would attack, he mills this. 1, 2, 3. We take 8 damage. Now he's gonna attack us for 2. 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. Down to 5. Encounter card here. Advance. He's gonna go ahead and scheme for a base of 2, 3, 4. And so this is gonna pop. So the Infinity Stones comes in, and there's no. Oh no, the one revealed on this side comes in with 1 per player, and then we reveal the top card of the experimental weapon deck. Oh, also we took 2 retaliates for hitting him. We should be at 3 health. Okay. And so after the villain attacks and damages you, discard 1 card from your hand. Okay, that's back to us. So we have to flip down and recover here. So, do we get down the team training? Or I think we have to get rid of some of these attachments. So I think we have to get rid of the retaliate one for sure. So probably this one and a science. It has to be the double here. Sure. So we'll get rid of these 2 resources. We'll get rid of the retaliate. And we just have to flip down here, I guess. And hope he doesn't scheme it out. I guess it's not impossible. We're going to recover for 3. Back up to 6 here. And we'll spend 2 resources here for the winter armor. We're going to get 3 more health up to 9. And that's going to be it. We're just going to ready up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So this is a hand that I think we can do something with. We have the Black Widow. We've got Hugin and Moonin. We've got Agent 13. So let's see. He's going to go up to 2. He's going to scheme for a base of 2, 3, 4. That's going to pop. Okay. Then we've got reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. So we've got another one coming in. So this one gives him ranged. And then we got an encounter card. A Hydra Bomber. Take 2 damage or place 1 threat on the main scheme. We'll place a threat on the main. All right. That's back to us. So he's popped through all of the main schemes, but we should be able to turn this around starting right now, which is pretty fun. All right, what can we do? So do I actually need to recover? No, we want to attack and get the value off of doing that. Okay, so let's flip up here. Let's go ahead and attack the bomber. That's going to go ahead and use my response to remove 2 threat from the main scheme. I don't think I actually want to... See, I was thinking of playing squared off here. I don't think I want to do that. Because we don't have an attack event. We might draw into the arm block though, which might be a risk we're taking. Yeah, we haven't seen a single one. We're drawing into 5 cards. I think we'll do it. So let's play a squared off here. So we're trying to play Black Widow here. Oh no, we find the Black Widow event. I forgot. Never mind, because it's already in the discard pile. Okay, I'm not finding any minions here. Okay, we got Hydra Jet Trooper, so it is put into play. I'm not sure. Does Quick Strike still activate on put into play? You would think I know these answers to these questions by now. A slight mistake. Of course, it Quick Strikes me because if you think about Shadow of the Past, it does the same thing. So it gets put into play, and then I can play an ally from my hand, reducing it by 2. I don't actually know the timing on this, so we're just gonna take the 2 damage from the Jet Trooper here. And then we're going to use Black Widow. We're going to return attack event from our discard pile for our hand. So we're going to grab the Winter Widow Soldier Spy here. So yeah, he dealt 2 damage to me. And we're going to keep it going. So we want to play down... If we want Hugin, I think we actually want to play Hugin and Moon in here. Yeah, and then play the Clarity with this. So we're going to spend Agent 13 to get our Clarity of Purpose down. We're just going to hard play Hugin and do we play that or we get rid of an attachment? No, I think we do play it. Because we want to block here from him. We want to chump from him, and then we will spend a Clarity of Purpose, taking a damage down to 6. We'll exhaust that, and then exhaust the arm for Winter Widow Soldier Spy. We will deal 4 damage to this enemy, and we'll put a preparation from our discard pile into play, which is always going to be rapid response. And I think that's cool. I think yeah, this is pretty cool, and we'll just go from here. So we'll have now we have just basic activations to use, so we don't have any thwart, so we'll just attack for 3 here, bring Crossbones down to 1, and they'll both take a consequential. And ooh, did he hit me with the power gauntlets? Ooh, I think I'm trolling. Wait, am I? He hit me on the first turn, right, with the power gauntlets, and I didn't discard a card from my hand. I might be trolling hard here. Hold up. Which one did I remove? Oh, no. He didn't have the gauntlets. He had retaliate. Okay. Okay, I thought I was trolling for a sec. I think we're okay. All right. We will. Yeah, he got it when I was flipped down. We will ready up. And we're trying to play fast here. So let's see. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we did find an arm block, which I think we're probably just gonna play with this hand. It's gonna go up by 1. Crossbow is gonna swing on us, so he has this when ability. And then we take indirect damage equals the number of boost icons. So there's 0 boost icons. This is discarded. That's a really nice break for us. So he only has 2 left. And then now he's going to activate against us. I think we actually arm block him just to knock him into the next phase. He's going to get another... I don't think we do. I think we just block this with Hugin and Moonin. Yeah, we'll just block it. It'll be a base of 3. 4, 5, 6. Hugin and Moonin is gone, and then we'll go into the encounter phase first. Hydra Flame Soldier. After he makes an undefended attack against you, discard a support you control. And that's back to us. Okay. Yeah, we actually want to keep the arm block for this next turn because we want to actually deal damage to him, I think. So, we're going to do these 2. Ooh. Let's actually spend a Clarity of Purpose here. Let's take a damage, go down to 5. So we're spending the Clarity, and then we will play down our Winter Mask. Then we'll have Black Widow swing for 2. We'll swing for 2. We'll knock out the Flame Soldier. That's going to go ahead and exhaust our mask and draw us a card. We drew into Mission Leader. I don't think we need that card at all. So, yeah, we will just spend it here. We'll spend 4 resources here. You get down Nick Fury Sr. When he comes in, we could get a tough, but I think I'm going to choose to draw 2. We got 1, 2 cards here. Okay, we got Mockingbird and White Tiger, which just isn't great for us. But we can use it to get rid of his laser rifle, so we'll spend both of them as resources, his fist and a energy to get rid of his laser rifle. So that's a use for it, and we'll keep the arm block in hand. She should have 2 damage on her. And so now we'll have Nick Fury Sr. go ahead and I guess just knock him into the next. I guess we could have waited on removing that attachment, but we'll knock Crossbones into the next phase. He's going to have 16 health. And then he reveals the top card of the experimental weapon deck, and he has +1 to all his stats now. Also, when we defeated that minion, we should have removed the threat. Okay, so he's a 3/4 right now, and we'll just ready up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're not actually going to choose to spend the arm block first because Nick Fury... what's it called? Yeah, we're not actually going to choose to spend it first because Nick Fury can draw us cards. Or he is a block for us. So it's going to go by 1. Crossbones is going to swing us to the base of 4. We'll block this. 5 damage. Nick Fury Sr. is defeated. Now the question is, do I rapid response him? I think the answer is no. We still have normal Nick Fury in the deck. I think I'll hold the rapid response. Now let's go to encounter card. Advance. Oh, we might just have lost. 3, 4. Yeah, we lost. That's crazy. Okay. Wow. How this is a solo experience is what I'll say. We're just gonna play this like this is 6 per player. Yeah, this is the solo experience. What else can I say? 2 hands of absolute nothing into um advance to lose the game. You know, it was 2, 3, 4, and it started at 1. Yeah, we lost the first scheme to advance, and then we lost the last one to advance. There's no better example of solo than this game, which is why we're gonna keep it. Let's just keep playing it like that. This is at 6 for some reason. Okay, so in order for this to be fair, we have to zero out the threat on the main, I think. So what we'll do is, I think what we will do is we'll spend this safe house and the cybernetic arm to play our electrical discharge. We'll deal 5 damage to him and stun him. And then, so that'll be really good for us. And then we will just, I think, spend both of the arm blocks here, taking a damage from this to play down Victoria hand. And when she enters play, we can ready a shield support. We don't have any. We'll throw it for 2, throw it for 2, throw it for 2. So, Black Widow's going to leave play. I will actually spend the rapid response on her. And then Victoria hand will have a damage, and we will have zeroed out the main. That's crazy. What a solo experience. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, the game should be over this next turn. That's the only reason why I didn't pack it up and reset it, because the games are so fast. The Crossbones going to try and attack. He can't. He's stunned. Counter card. Hard as nails. Give the villain a tough status. Okay, he has a tough. Back to us. All right, we should be able to find the damage here to knock him out. So let's go ahead and do that. I mean, yeah. We have Metal Punch and Nick Fury. So let's do a Clarity of Purpose here and 3 resources. We're going to take a damage. We'll play down Nick Fury. He's going to draw us 3 cards. 1, 2, and 3. Let's have Victoria hand swing for 1, break the tough. And then we just have the damage, hop, skip, and a jump away here. We've got Metal Punch. Yeah. It would have been interesting if we could have played another card, but we can't. So we'll do this. Plus his double energy for Metal Punch. That's going to deal 8 damage to him, bringing him from 11 and down to 7. And then we will attack with Nick Fury, bring him down to 1. And then we'll attack with our hero, and that will defeat him and remove all threat from the main. So that's a quick showcase of the deck, and also very emblematic of solo and its pitfalls. That was so funny. Yeah, you couldn't. I don't play solo very often, and then it's like the first, other than out of Marvel Rewind, and then like the first game back, it's double advance. It's like lose the first scheme to advance, have to flip down a heal. He schemes out, and then lose a second scheme to advance. That's crazy. And I knew the win was a turn away, so there was really no point in resetting it. But yeah, so that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. It is definitely a deck that you see shine in multiplayer more than it does in solo. There were some really awkward starting hands there, but again, if it was something that I was playing, because it's made for a multiplayer setting, which is what I want to get ahead of here. So if you look at like our first hand, which was like 3, 4, and then like what was it called? It was these 4. No, it's these 5 plus a, what's it called? Is these 5 plus a squared off? You can actually just hold the make the call instead there, so you always have something to play in case an enemy or one of your friends discards an ally. So you can play that instead of having to draw into whatever like this next hand was, which was basically, yeah, there was a lot of clumping going on the halves of the deck because it was sorted by like aspects. So as you see, like there's a lot of clumping here. So that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed that gameplay. I think the deck is a ton of fun, and I implore you to give him a shot. I think Winter Soldier is awesome. I think he's a really great tempo hero. I don't think he's one of the best heroes in the game, but I do think he is very, very strong. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like down below if you did. And let me know, Winter Soldier or Falcon, which one do you prefer? And I'm definitely looking to find a deck with Falcon here in the coming weeks. I don't know if that'll be a video or not, but probably my own exploration, similar to how I did with Winter Soldier. This is a deck that I feel is really strong, really powerful. I did a lot of expert 2-player games the good friend of mine, and yeah, it was just crazy good. He's just really good at dealing with the minions on the board. He just has so many options, so many tempo picks. And yeah, leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.